Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Talk a little bit about LSU football, and it appears, based on his Twitter feed, maybe a little food review as well. Preston, how we doing?
Boy, Bud, you are on it. I think I hit send while I was on hold on this. So, Tiger Stadium was spicing up their concessions this year. It was pretty good. They brought us out to come get a sample.
I have not eaten concessions inside Tiger Stadium in a very long time because I'm in the press box every week, but I do like the idea of new concessions. I know they let a lot of the media in there to give a sample. It looked like I saw a chicken sandwich potentially, maybe some wings. What can you tell us about the samples today?
Yeah, some barbecue wings that were actually pretty good. Some cock wings and things. Never heard of them. Maybe I'll get roasted in the chat for not knowing it. The peach cobbler had a really good peach cobbler. That was awesome. Some barbecue nachos, some boudin, barbecue chicken sandwich. Of course, the Kona ice snowballs. I'm not sure that that's new, or maybe they're just adding more of it in. But in the Aramark food, I thought was pretty good too. It kind of looks like some nice little pepperoni hot dogs, cheesy hot dog. It was all pretty good. Crawfish nachos, a good little burger. It was a nice little sample of the town. They're definitely putting some work into making the game day atmosphere better. And they've put a lot of work into that over the last 15 years in general.
I like the sound of that. Let's talk a little bit of football. We'll be inside Tiger Stadium tomorrow night to watch them one more time before they shut it down and get ready for Clemson. I would have to imagine all eyes on the offensive line tomorrow for you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I'm hoping they give us some good live reps and hopefully even some thuds, if not, hopefully more than two-hand touch. I don't want to say tackling at 6 days before Clemson, but hopefully we get a good eye for what's going on. But we'll see. I imagine with media out, they're probably not going to give us too intrusive of a look.
So my question would be, who do you think is going to start at right tackle and who do you think is going to start at left guard? Because Brian Kelly has essentially left those two positions open with his answers in the press conferences.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Man, it really seems like DJ Chester, after really holding on to that position, will be the odd man out. I still believe Weston Davis is going to hold on to that right tackle spot, although I don't think game one is going to be a done deal. Carius Kearns, obviously very talented, but Carius Kearns has some discipline issues that I've noticed throughout practice. So we'll see. Of course, that's of most true freshman, 18-year-old kids. Okay, you had some false starts, some holding calls on you. Okay, whatever. But, the strength is there. So at first I thought, well, that sucks. He's having discipline issues. He's not going to get a chance to crack the starting lineup. But lo and behold, he's working in the right tackle. So I think keep an eye on that battle for sure. I'm still going to go with Weston Davis. But that left guard, because he did not mention DJ Chester, which – I don't know if that was an oversight on his end or if, he's literally just moved on past him, giving other guys a chance. But if it's not DJ Chester, I guess I'd have to go with Paul Mabinga. But that one, Hunt, when I say wide open, that one appears to be really wide open.
I don't know if it was an oversight or not. What I do know is there is a chance it was an oversight. It would not be the first time that Brian Kelly had fumbled a name at the press conference, and I don't really care about that. They've got position coaches and guys. It's not like he's going to forget who to put in the game next Saturday. Sometimes that just happens when you got a roster that's turning over constantly and you're up there having to recall a ton of names. So
it happens to me on radio once a week at least.
Yeah, for sure. So it is what it is. Here's a question that is unanswerable, but I just want your thoughts on the general premise. Do you believe that the coaching staff, Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton, Brian Kelly, are preparing for the season with the understanding that there may be issues protecting and running the ball so that they're going to have to help those guys a little bit?
Yeah, and, I think we're seeing a little bit of that in the formations we're seeing. How many 12 personnels have you seen this fall camp? A lot. It almost is like their primary formation. So, and not to say that they don't have two talented tight ends, but you certainly have a plethora of talented receivers that you would like to get on the field. You don't want to just be running three receivers at a time if you can avoid it. So, and that's, regardless of how talented Trey'Dez Green or Bauer Sharp are. I mean, you just do have a depth and a ton of receivers you want on the field. So I think they are preparing to have Bauer Sharp and Trey'Dez Green kind of provide a little bit of assistance, certainly while they get things gelled and ready, because those guys can certainly provide a little bit of assistance.
Something that I've noticed in the practices that I've attended are periods dedicated to the screen game, and a lot of variety in the screen game, from the backs to the receivers to even the tight ends. What do you think about that aspect of LSU's offense?
Well, that's exactly what we were just talking about. Well, if you have an offensive line that's struggling, and a lot of times you're lined up against a big, nasty SEC defensive lineman, you can't beat him. If you're going to go 100% full on and he's going to go 100% full on, you have to make him not be digging into the dirt, leaning on his toes, and being able to give 100% burst in him. You have to punish him for over adjusting. So one of the things you can do to help out a struggling offensive line is some quick screens. Make it to where if he's going to just, give you a full-on burst upfield, let him run past you, let him be off balance, and then boom, right over his head, hit him with a screen. He's not playing disciplined football. Then on the next play, when it is time to run, he's not leaning forward into the dirt. He doesn't have those white knuckles going on. So yes, I think 100% of what we're seeing is a schematic adjustment to compensate in case they aren't able to get the push in the offensive line that you want. And look, I'll even go take it a step forward. I mean, think about all these goal line, these Jawan Johnson reps, and these formations where they're putting motioning Nussmeier out wide.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing a lot of different little things, if not only to, in case they can't get a push, to do something different to still move the ball forward, but probably also to keep them, keep them guessing, keep them, off those knuckles.
Is there a second biggest question mark on this team beyond offensive line that you're honing in on?
Well, let's put it like this. There's offensive line, a wide gap, and then way down the list, probably safety, but even those safeties, they're starting to look good in practice, and there's a lot. I mean, there's a question here and there about them, but I mean, even young guys are starting to start, like CJ Jeb Coyley is coming up from the rear, giving you a lot of talent. I guess the big question more so would be more toward individuals, right? Not toward units as a whole. Things like, okay, is Harold Perkins going to really find a home at that star position? Is he going to be able to cover the way he's going to need to cover? It's more so individual questions once you get past that offensive line as a unit.
Saw the show this week. Van Lathan was on for an extended period. Y'all went through wins and losses, and you settled there on 10-2. Tell me about it.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I knew I had in my gut. I think LSU loses to a team that they're the better team then, and that one was real tough. I went back and forth between Alabama, South Carolina, and Oklahoma, and ultimately I said, well, the Oklahoma one could be tough. None of these guys have ever played in Oklahoma. Nobody's ever coached in Oklahoma, and LSU's never been to Oklahoma. That's a tough place to play. They're going to be playing for a lot, and LSU very well could be looking forward to the playoffs. So that's the one I went with. 10-2 is what I went for the season. I do have them dropping the opener to Clemson, albeit there's not a game on this schedule that you couldn't sit down and, maybe after a few beverages, you convinced me to say, screw it, you're right. Clemson did go 0-3 against the SEC last year, and they were just a 9-4 team, and they didn't really do as much in the portal as LSU did. LSU will certainly improve more, and LSU beat South Carolina. They didn't. They lost to South Carolina. Maybe you could convince me on all 12 games why LSU will win the game and should win the game, but I think ultimately going 12-0 is a little more difficult to do, especially when there's so many good teams that can beat you. I mean, there's 6 teams or so that absolutely have the wherewithal to beat LSU this year. So you got to go out and execute that many times. And to say you're going to go 6-0 in those, that's a tough ask. So yes, I think this is a very, very good team, and I'm really pumping the brakes to hold myself on how special I think this team could be, because I'm really high on Nussmeier, especially if he takes that step forward. I think the offensive line is going to be good enough. I really do believe that, and I like the overall talent of this team. I mean, look, Brian Kelly came out and said he invested $18 million in this roster. That's not lost on me, the meaning of that, considering they rolled out a team last year that was about $5.5 million is what the reports are. So you tell me they tripled the spending, and a lot of people are nationally are still expecting a similar 9-3 type result from LSU, and I just I just don't see that happening again. So I am internally pumping the brakes based on what kind of like what my heart is telling me about this team, because logic tells me, Preston, you need to shave a couple wins off there and temper your expectations.
So we've got 5 auto qualifiers. That means there's 7 more spots. Like, did last year prove that 9-3 is not good enough, or is there a chance you can get in with 9-3? Do you think?
How would we know if 9-3 wasn't good enough? They were 8-4 last year. So,
Well, Alabama, South Carolina, and Ole Miss.
Sure. No, I went back and looked at LSU in the post BCS or the BCS and after era, so 98 and later. And LSU obviously has a great number of 9-3 teams. You have about a 1 in 5 chance. I believe it was 2 out of 10, something like that I divvied up. And of course, that's based on what the AP rankings actually were. That's not to say years like 2013, where you had Mettenberger and Landry and all those guys. That's not to say that offense wouldn't have had some influence. Like, you really think this team that's ranked 13th is going to stay 13th when Odell Beckham's on their roster? Like you're going to let, like Iowa or somebody like in there over this high-flying LSU team? The Jaden Daniels team, that would have been a question whether they get in or whether they get some extra love or bump. I think 9-3, you have to be an impressive 9-3. Think about that 2018 LSU team where they beat number 2 Georgia by 20 points at home. You have to have a resume kind of like that to make it in. So I think that this schedule really does give LSU a realistic chance, as long as your 9-3 includes at least one just very impressive win, like Clemson on the road. Let's put it like this: you want to get in at 9-3, win game 1. You'll be in great shape. Okay. And then pray Clemson wins the ACC.
Yeah, it'd be a really nice change of pace. We'll see if they can get it done. We'll see you inside Tiger Stadium tomorrow, and we'll talk LSU Clemson next week.
All right, see you then, Todd.
Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Appreciate him. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.